Hey everyone, it's Hailey, and today is Bookmas Day 17, so we're going to be talking about my most anticipated book-to-movie adaptations that are coming out in 2019. This was actually a really interesting video to do research for because there are so many book-to-movie adaptations that I didn't realize were coming out next year, and it can be really intimidating to try and keep track of what has a book-to-movie adaptation deal but isn't necessarily coming out, so it doesn't have a release date or any production news on it, because there are oftentimes a lot of books that the rights are bought to them, but you never actually see them get the adaptation, like Looking for Alaska, although apparently there are things happening with that, but I'm not holding my breath because I would be dead. So in my research, I actually found some books that do have release dates and are coming out in 2019, and I am really excited for these. I can't wait to see them, so let's get into the list. Also, if you haven't seen Bookmas Day 16, which came out yesterday, that was all about the 2018 book-to-movie adaptations that I watched, so you can go and check that out. I will have the link down below. But getting into 2019, the one that I am definitely the most excited for, except I'm very nervous to go and watch it because I don't know if I'll emotionally be able to handle it, but that is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This is coming out as a movie in the beginning of the year, and I am so excited for it, but like I said, I just don't know how I'm going to feel about it just because it was such an emotional story for me. So I think seeing it on the big screen is going to be a beautiful moment, but it's also going to be very, very difficult. Hopefully not as difficult as Marley and Me, because I went and saw Marley and Me in theaters. I didn't know what it was about. I mean, I knew vaguely what it was about, but I didn't know any better, and I was sobbing in the theater. So I'm hoping that will not be the case with The Nightingale, though it likely will be. If you haven't heard me talk about The Nightingale, this was my #1 top book that I read this year. It was so fantastic. It is a historical fiction, actually an adult historical fiction, following these sisters during World War II in Nazi-occupied France, and it is a beautiful, heartbreaking, touching story that you really need to read before you go and see the movie. Please do that because it is so, so beautiful. I'm looking at the IMDb page now, and I feel like I saw a trailer for it, but I feel like I'm wrong now because it says the status is in pre-production, but it also says that the release date is January 25th, so I don't know what's happening. All I know is that it's supposed to come out in 2019, and hopefully it does. There's also literally no cast announced, so I'm confused and feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. Next is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I feel like this story has been adapted a bunch of times, but it is being adapted again in 2019, and it stars the likes of Emma Watson, and I can't say her name at all because I'm awful, but I believe it's Charisse Ronan, but I think that's also quite incorrect. Meryl Streep is also in it, Laura Dern. Like, there are so many big names in here. I am so excited for it. Just like Emma Watson, all of them, sign me up. I think it's going to be fantastic to see what they're gonna do with this story, and I know there are a ton of adaptations, but I'm just so excited to see those actresses take on those big roles. I think it's gonna be so good. This one we unfortunately have a very long wait for because it's not coming out until Christmas Day of 2019, so we literally have a year to wait for it, which really sucks, but eventually we will get there and the payoff will be so worth it. I feel like I can also talk about Aladdin and The Lion King, the Disney live-action remakes, which are coming out in 2019, because they are technically based on books, so I'll give a little bit of a stretch there. The Lion King does look amazing, but I'm not going to go and see it because, once again, Marley and Me, I'll be a sobbing mess, and I don't want that for myself, okay? It's like Dumbo. I was personally offended that Disney had the nerve to put the trailer for Dumbo, which I had been avoiding like the plague, before the Nutcracker movie, because I can't. I sob, I think about it, and I'm sad, so I'm not gonna think about it anymore. But Aladdin I am very excited for, and I think The Lion King does look great. I can't mentally handle that. Next is Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys, which is actually coming out as a movie, which will be titled Ashes in the Snow, and it is coming out January 11th, 2019. So this one we don't have a very long wait for, but they decided to retitle it because, I mean, Shades of Grey obviously has a different connotation now. But I had heard buzz about this movie adaptation for a long time. I don't know if it's come out other places in the world, but I just know that January 11th is when it's coming out in the States, so then therefore I hope it's coming out in Canada that same day. But this is one of my favorite books of all time. It is once again a World War II story. I just really like me a good, touching World War II story. But I feel like this is another adaptation, just like The Nightingale, that has the potential to be really emotional and hard-hitting and impactful, and it will probably make me cry because it is such a sad and scary story, really, but I think it's one that it's important for it to be told. Do you hear Jackson snoring? He sounds like he's a 40-year-old man. Anyways, next is 5 Feet Apart by Rachel Lippincott with Mickey Daughtry and Tobias Iaconis. I struggled with that there, but I actually haven't even read this book. It just came out fairly recently, so I am very excited to read it. I was looking at the Goodreads page today actually, and it has quite a few really good reviews, and I need to check to see who's in the movie actually, because I thought I saw a big name on there. I did indeed. So Cole Sprouse is playing one of the main characters in here, so that is very exciting, and I don't recognize anyone else on here, but I'm also not a big movie buff, so that could be why. But this is a contemporary romance about two characters who are suffering from a chronic illness. It doesn't actually say in the synopsis what the illness is, but I feel like it was cystic fibrosis, but I could be wrong about that. But whatever it is, they can't get within 5 feet of each other, which is obviously complicated for a romance. But I'm really excited to read this book and then see the movie adaptation, which I should have also checked when it was coming out, but I didn't do that because that would have just made too much sense. It is coming out on March 22nd, 2019, so we've got plenty of time to read this before then. Next is The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. I was so excited to see that this was being adapted because I had no clue that it was even supposed to become a movie, but this is one of my favorite books. I really, really love it. I love the fact that it's not what you would expect from a romance. So it has two characters that are both on differing sides of kind of, I guess, their view of the world. You have one who's very logically minded and a bit pessimistic, and then one who is very optimistic and sees hope in the world. But it is set over the course of one day when the main character finds out that she is going to be deported to a country that she hasn't even gone to, she never grew up in, but it is because her parents are illegal immigrants. So this is a very timely story, a very important story, and I thought it was beautiful and eye-opening, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm excited that there's going to be a movie, and it is starring Yara Shahidi, who I really like. It also has Charles Melton from Riverdale, but I've never seen Riverdale, so I don't know much about him, but this is coming out on May 17th. And an honorary mention goes to P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han, because Netflix, I believe, just confirmed that they are coming out with the sequel. Probably not in 2019, but we can hope that it's going to be in 2019. But if it's anything like the first adaptation, it is going to be fantastic and so enjoyable and adorable. So those are all of the book to movie adaptations that are coming out in 2019 that I'm very excited for. There will probably be some that will be announced throughout the year, so if I didn't get to one of your favorites, please let me know in the comments down below which one you are looking forward to the most. But if you guys are enjoying Bookmas, don't forget to click that subscribe button, then click that bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I post. I'm posting new videos every single day right up until Christmas. You can also follow me on all of my social media. All of my handles and links and all of that jazz will be down below for you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I will see you tomorrow for Bookmas Day 18. Bye!